Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Transportation Committee for three. This is a meeting that we have some folks joining us online as well. It's a hybrid meeting, so we'll make sure that we give those folks time when the time is right. We have a agenda. So we have two street cleaning requests on the agenda that we're going to do first, and we're going to go over those. And then we also have the Manhattan Bridge off-ramp and Canal Street return to safety improvements agenda item for accessibility. And then after that, we have the district meeting statement priorities. But first, we're going to do a roll call. It's going to help there.
Vincent Serena.
Here.
Nancy Cron, President. Sonia Bates. Lee Berman. Fletcher. Sean Garcia.
Yeah.
Charlie Wilson. Michelle Cooper Smith. Jaja, yeah. Here. David Crane.
Here.
No. Okay.
Great. So for anyone in the room here, if you'd like to speak tonight, we do have a speaker form that you can sign up. Right now, I don't have anyone that is going to speak from the public. We do have some folks that are here to speak on some of the street cleaning requests that last come on up. For you folks joining us online, when we go to each agenda item, if you just put your hand up, we'll call on you if you'd like to speak on any of the items. So with that, we're gonna do our first street code naming request, which is for Salvatore and Eric Delgado Way for Pike Street between Madison and Henry Streets.
Yeah, if you use this microphone.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Paul Valello. I'm Chief of Field Operations for the Bureau of Water and Sewer Operations at the Department of Environmental Protection.
Sit down, it'll be better for them.
When asked to give this presentation, I have to admit my mind immediately went to ChatGPT for assistance. But I quickly realized no app, no matter how advanced, could speak from the heart or convey personal feelings and experiences. I'm truly honored to speak before you tonight to appeal for a street naming in honor of Salvatore and Eric Delgado. I'd also like to acknowledge our DEP colleagues at Community Outreach who have discussed this mission and received support from Principal Rosenbaum and the staff at PS2. Sal and Eric, a father and son team, served the DEP at our Pike Street facility for nearly 50 years combined. Not many people are familiar with what DEP does. We're not as visible as NYPD, FDNY, or Sanitation, but our work is just as vital. Everyday life simply couldn't function without clean water and working sewer systems. The most fundamental parts of our lives depend on these services. Tonight, I want to show you how prolific, committed, and essential Sal and Eric were in providing these services to the greatest city in the world. I started with the agency 36 years ago, assigned to our Brooklyn division. Even though we all performed the same functions, Manhattan was always thought of as the major leagues. We were a little envious. So many emergencies, so much news coverage, politicians on site. It was exciting. I had hoped one day to be part of that team. Leading that team at every single event was Sal. Sal began with the city in 1965 and served as our incident commander for decades. He led with precision and calm, whether shutting down a civil era water main, flooding the subway, or responding to a 36-inch sewer main collapse. He was the constant, the one who steered the ship until the repairs were made, the water was back, the trains were running, and traffic was flowing again. The cameras always caught the drama, the flooding, the chaos, but never the work behind the scenes. Everyone on site knew who was in charge, and it was always Sal. In 1981, Sal acquired a rare piece of equipment that allowed pipes from of different materials to be fitted together. That machine is still in use today and has saved the city millions of dollars. Not many municipalities have that. On 9/11 and in the months that followed, Sal again served as the point person for our agency. He led the effort to repair broken water mains, hydrants, and catch basins. He made sure every worker had proper safety gear. He coordinated crews, vehicles, and equipment for months. Our Pike Street facility was an emergency staging site. And thanks to Sal, it was always stocked and ready with fuel and supplies for city, state, and federal agencies alike. Sal was the guy all of us younger men wanted to be. He was knowledgeable, confident, and passionate. He rode a motorcycle, looked intimidating, but had a quiet kindness about him. He'd correct you, sometimes sharply, but always finish with a wink or a pat on the back. And you'd walk away thinking, I've got to do better. He inspired countless workers, many of whom went on to lead the agency. I'm proud to say I'm one of them. Sal retired in 2009 after 44 years of service, passed away in 2014. Eric started in 1995, also working in Brooklyn, worked his way up through the ranks. By 2012, we needed a strong district supervisor to run that same Pike Street shop. We considered several candidates, but Eric was the obvious choice. He fixed what needed fixing, earning everyone's respect, and soon became his father's successor as borough manager of Manhattan, or as his daughter Stephanie had a better title, the King of Manhattan. Eric was his father's son, but his leadership style was different. Sal was bold and brash, Eric was calm and steady. He didn't raise his voice, but people listened. Over time, especially after many Friday lunches at Wohat, he opened up. We talk about his two daughters, Chrissy and Stephanie. His face would light up. He adored Jen and the girls, proud, loving, always smiling when he spoke of them. He would also talk about how they would be silly and love to play flag football. Throughout my career, I prided myself on common sense and hard work, and thought that I had great work ethic until I met Eric. I've never worked with someone more dedicated than Eric. Whether it was getting certified to work in a hot zone after a steam main explosion, or setting up sinks in Central Park for the Pope's visit, Eric always did whatever it took to get the job done. He led by example, just like his father, giving direction and rolling up his sleeves. I remember in December 2016, just a couple of days after Christmas, we were working at a water main break on Bowery and Grand Street. It was freezing, and Eric wasn't wearing his jacket. I said, "What are you doing without a jacket?" And he replied, "Once I get going, it's too hot to wear one." Later, as I was leaving, I saw a homeless man wearing the same blue Carhartt jacket. That was Eric. On February 8, 2022, I was on the phone with Eric all day and night as he worked on a water main break near the FDL Drive and 71st Street. At 10:30 p.m., he told me the situation was under control and heading home. But I later found out the next day that at 1:30 a.m., he went back to the Pike Street shop to pick up and deliver materials for that same job, so that the contractor can resume the repairs. He slept at the shop that night. And when I asked him why he didn't go home and why he lied to me, he said it was faster this way. I wanted to get the road open for the morning rush. Again, that was Eric. That Friday, he texted me asking if he could leave an hour early to pick up Valentine's gifts for Jen and the girls. He had already worked 25 extra hours that week that managers don't get paid for. I said, of course, get some rest. The next day, Eric tragically passed away at home. His family and our entire DP family were devastated. It's hard, as you can see, for me to share this. I can't imagine how his family continues to cope. Jen, his wife, Jennifer, is here. Please know, Eric made us all better. He was never taken for granted. I loved him like a brother. I miss him deeply, and I'll never erase that last text. In closing, I respectfully ask the board to consider naming the corner of Pike Street and Henry Street as Della Cave Way. It's not just a street sign, it's a symbol of how things were and how they should continue to be. Guided by Sal and Eric's example, the Della Cave Way. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you putting all that, your thought, your, all of it into what you said, and I appreciate the family being out here tonight too as well. So thank you for the science, thank you for bringing it forward to it. I don't believe we have anyone online that wants to speak for this.
Hey.
Ms. Kay? Do you want to let her on?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, she should be able to.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go, okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm crying. I just wanted to say that I think this community board should support this idea. It's very rare that we have workers being honored in this way, and it's high time we did. This is the backbone of our city. These are the people who do just what the speaker talked about, that, you know, beyond the call of duty, no matter what it is, it's heroic, it's for us. And I don't know what more can be said, but these are two gentlemen who really gave this city their all, and I would love to see us honor them in a manner to which they should be honored. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Kay. I have a directive resolution that is brought to the community members. We can bring that up here. So I'll be honest with everyone in this room. When I first received this, not seeing all the background and all that, I didn't think it met any of our guidelines that we have at this board passed in like 2010, 9, somewhere in there originally, and then we just updated it, the guidelines probably about a year ago. So they're kind of just fresh in our mind. So I wrote this in a way, learning a little bit more about the story of Eric and Sal. I think it is a different type of piece that our guidelines don't really necessarily talk to specifically. And knowing that this family really created or put a lot of their career in Lower East Side and this community board, serving our district as well as larger Manhattan. So kind of wrote this resolution to kind of state that it's got the intent, the spirit of meeting our guidelines, and what's, you know, obviously included that I want to say. Just see that, talk through with all of you folks.
That's a lot.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think it does the spirit. Guidelines, really?
Have to use,
The guidelines are just guidelines, and they're really targeted to the proliferation of coatings that appears 10 or 20 years ago. It's not really, it's other people invest in. I agree, we should absolutely do this one. DEP is an important agency, they work well with the office, and we sound very well. DEP is, I don't know exactly the nature of that building, but I think it needs to be headquartered, but the
So I just want to say, I don't think people realize for some of the agencies, the way people work. DEP is one of those. I'd like to introduce you to Umberto Galzara. He's our current liaison from DEP. So anytime there's like middle of the night emergencies, anything, he is constantly keeping us totally updated. And I just want to make people aware of some of the work that some of the city people do.
Thanks, and then this also just go back to our guidelines, this particular block, Pike Street. Is just the DEP facility, and PS2 is across the street. Susan, thanks to Susan, she went and talked to the principals at PS2, and then obviously the faculty and principal full support of this as well. So we're good there. So we have it here. You'll want me to read that out here?
I reviewed it.
We'll go over there. Yeah.
There's a pithy whereas in here, not all of them.
Or what?
The pithiest whereas that we talk about the why. I mean, something that would be meaningful as opposed to. So and has a property.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Just in case someone used to have an idea about.
And say people, these people really dedicate their work to the city, but their work is part of their life. There are not boundaries, and they're really dedicated to the city.
You know, I've read it, it convinced me, so.
Well, thank you to the
I
language.
didn't know he was signed up to speak. I don't know what is he saying, but he was on Tubi the day he passed. He was on call. He was on call at least and had to relinquish his devices that day that he passed. Because people were still calling and there would have been breaks and we were in the emergency. So, and I have a picture of him when he saw his office, if that helps. So, all those things that Paul said, I knew he could say better than me, and I didn't think I've been hold it together. But, I just wanna say, I really appreciate your consideration. My daughters really, when they were born, their grandfather was already DEP for many years, so the DEP is really like a family to us. So I'm gonna be honest that first month, you know, it's really rough and your paycheck stopped immediately. And this DEP did a collection and they paid my first mortgage because direct deposit just ends. That's what happens until all paperwork goes through, and they really, really stood by us as a family. So this is his office. It had a nice balcony. It's still a beautiful office. I don't know who's there. But
Let's
this
speak into
was-
the mic.
This was just one of the times that we visited after hours when we were going to the city show. And he did help with all the COVID efforts. COVID tracking, all that tracing and, you know, the COVID cases and keeping everybody protected during that time. They had to decide who was staying home for 10 days. Remember those days? And he was on the phone constantly, on or off duty, after hours, anytime. He always picked up that phone. So even on vacation, amusement parks, my daughter can tell you how many times.
They sound like a wonderful man, father, and I love that it's not on Facebook.
I think he learned that
That's
from
great.
dad, so job is very important.
Excellent, thank you. I don't think we did have a line in there, did I? Okay, yes, we actually, in this, when I wrote it, we included that stone service. Well, it's very sorry for your loss, and I hope that this gives you the family some solace and all the dedication that you have with the city. If we did vote on this, it's fine. That's unanimous. I don't know if we have a quorum. Michelle's here.
Doesn't, well, just if you don't, we'll just note
Just
that.
get it with, right at the board, okay.
What's quorum for us now? More than be 6?
I'd have to look at all of this.
Say right enough.
It's just a note on the minutes.
Okay, thank you for coming tonight. It's really appreciate it. All right, we are gonna go to the next item, which is a street cleaning fund for Essex Street, between the Lansing and Irvington. to be named Jack Kirby Way. Thanks.
I'm talking with the motion now, so give me a remark. I have prepared a short presentation, if you'll give me a moment to set it up, the reason will become apparent in a moment. Was I made
Minutes, mine set it up for me, wondering what the next steps are for the family, just so they understand.
Yeah, and Susan, just for like next steps, for just the street cleaning, so this is the first step. Oh, no, I just wanna, just to like, you know, say like, the role in this whole street naming, so we're kind of like the first step, I think you've already talked, PP's already spoken with the council person who's, for this as well. It'll go to our full board, at the end of this month, it's a Tuesday, I don't know, the date in front of me, I know.
It's, the 28th.
The 28th of October, so, this committee, the resolution will be in our vote sheet, and then the whole board votes on the vote sheet and this item. And then that gets forwarded to the council person, and then they take it, I think it's this month or next month, right?
I think, they can get it in the December vote is what I think what they were trying for.
Yeah. So,
The December city council.
So do we, for any event,
Pardon?
do we attend any of those?
When there's actual, well, I'm sorry.
yeah,
With the council person, it's administrative, I guess they don't have a hearing at city council, they just have a vote. But at some point, there's gonna be a street coordinator, you could see on that sign back there where it says Corky Lake. That's an extra street, a sign, like, cause they make one extra, so they'll give one extra to you. But so you will go to that event, which the city council person will host.
and obviously you're welcome to come and speak at a board meeting, full board, but it's not required.
That's the October 28th.
That's actually surprise.
That's my birthday. It's my fifth. Really want me there?
You're 50 years old, you can decide what you want to do. Okay,
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Roy Schwartz. I am a pop culture historian and a board member of the American Jewish Historical Society. But I would ask everybody to look at the screen. I am far less interesting to look at. I'm here tonight to petition the board for the co-naming of Essex Street between the Lancey and Rivington as Jack Kirby Way. This is Jack Kirby. He may not be famous, but he is one of the most important and influential artists of the 20th century. And he was born and raised, there's a delay in the, there we go, right here in the Lower East Side. Way back when. Specifically, he was born in 1917 in 147 Essex Street. That's the red building you see here. To Benjamin and Rose Kurtzberg, Jewish refugees from Austria. It was the Depression. He grew up impoverished. He had to drop out of school to help support the family. But he had an uncanny artistic talent. And so young Jacob Kurtzberg found work in the new medium of comic books, adopting the name Jack Kirby. He went on to create Captain America, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Thor, Ant-Man, Iron Man, the Avengers, the X-Men, Silver Surfer, Black Panther, New Gods, Eternals, and countless other characters and concepts. He also played a role in the creation of Spider-Man and Daredevil. That's a lot for one guy. He was denied proper recognition during his lifetime, particularly compared to creative partner Stan Lee, because he was always only a freelancer. He did not own any of his characters any more than you or I do. Stan Lee, with the highest respect, was the editor-in-chief and the owner's cousin, so that played in his favor. But Jack Kirby, through his unbridled imagination, his groundbreaking artistic innovation, and his moralistic storytelling, inspired generations of New Yorkers, Americans, and people around the world. Throughout his 7+ decade career, he also invented many of the artistic tools and conventions of the comic book art form, which have since informed many other art forms. He actually helped birth the pop art movement. This collage from 1956 by Richard Hamilton is considered the first significant piece of pop art. And at its very center is Jack Kirby's young romance comic. Roy Lichtenstein's famous 1963 painting, Image Duplicator, known for its bold composition, was based on Jack Kirby's art in X-Men #1. Simply without him, there would be no pop art as we know it. Today, among those who credit him as a direct influence are authors like George R.R. Martin and Michael Chabon. The Amazing Adventures of Calvin and Clay, which is a Pulitzer winner, is dedicated to Kirby and his influence. And filmmakers like George Lucas and Guillermo del Toro. Jack Kirby was also a real-life hero. He, in World War II, enlisted, served as a scout deep behind enemy lines, helped locate and liberate a concentration camp, was severely injured, spending almost an entire year in a VA hospital, and was awarded the Bronze Star. Jack Kirby's connection to the Lower East Side is significant. The Lower East Side of his childhood played a crucial role and was prominently featured in his work throughout his career. His character's rooftop fights, which have since become a staple, a cliche of the superhero genre, were actually inspired by his own rooftop fights as a youth gang member during the Depression, jumping around the huddled tenement rooftops of the Lower East Side. Captain America's famous origin is a bullied young artistic youth from the Lower East Side is based on Kirby's own life. Most autobiographical is the Fantastic Four's Thing, who's based directly on Jack Kirby and actually named Benjamin Jacob after himself and his father. The Fantastic Four's Thing, which I'm sure you all know, is prominently from the Lower East Side. You'll note the familiar vistas in these images. He is from Yancey Street, which is the fictionalized version of the Lancy Street, a locale that has become famous in the lore, appearing in comics, cartoons, video games, movies, and elsewhere. This from the newest Fantastic Four movie. If you will look at the bottom image, you will see it's the curved corner of Rivington and Yancey Street. Throughout his career, Kirby continued to feature and engage with the Lower East Side in his work. In the 70s, when he took over writing and drawing Superman, he added to Metropolis the downtown neighborhood of South Side based on the Lower East Side. That's still there. Immigrant life in the Lower East Side was also the subject of his famous autobiographical comic, Street Code. Through his Jack Kirby stories across media, people around the world, children and adults alike, are familiar with New York's Lower East Side, its history and its culture during the early to mid 20th century. Jack Kirby is a founding father of modern popular culture and a beloved American mythology, and he was also a proud representative of the Lower East Side. For his historic significance, accomplishments, and contribution to his community, he deserves to be honored with a street co-naming of Jack Kirby Way. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, appreciate it. That is really neat presentation out there, I appreciate you putting it together for this. Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you very much. My kids are very excited about this. For the, if there's anybody in the audience, I don't think anyone signed up to speak. If there's anyone online that would like to speak for this particular item, if you put your hand up.
No.
All right, with that, we'll take it to the committee. I passed around, a draft of the resolution for this last week. I appreciate you providing a lot of the language, that was used in the whereas, and again, this is kind of like going back to our guidelines. This is a little bit of adjacent, to our guidelines, but again, I think it's in the very, of an individual, who, gave back to neighborhood, was raised, more or less, became the person who was here in the neighborhood. So that's in there. So again, talking a little bit about the spirit of the connecting to our guidelines, the case. It's for him, it's not like the commercial part of him. I think this is really a very different way. We're not saying that we're doing a fantastic four corners. I mean, this is got every way. So I think we can see that. Any comments? Oh, Michelle?
Are there petition signatures? Oh, sorry. Are there petition signatures?
Yes, we have the petitions.
Oh, okay, because they're not online. Did it meet the criteria?
It did meet the criteria for.
Should we put that in the resolution then?
We.
I believe that's what
it's-
I said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're posted on the website. I am.
Oh, you know what? It's two different, okay, there's two different links.
Yes.
So should we add that to the resolution?
I think it's already in there. Let me just.
Did you change the draft?
Yeah. So,
Oh, just has submitted a required number. Well, okay.
Yes, just three files.
Well, I would say as probably the only avid comic book collector on the board, I don't know, maybe there's others. But I'm of course familiar with Kirby's work. I mean, this presentation was amazing, it was very educational, I think. Thank you for putting it together, you know, because when you read and you look at these comics and you can see a bit of yourself, right? You know, as a young kid who comes from an immigrant family, you know, like seeing the pictures, you don't know why you connect with them so much. And to understand where Kirby, who he is, where he comes from, his roots. I think you know, it's a reflection of what is so beautiful about the Lower East Side. And what we celebrate, right? The multicultural diversity coming up from, you know, putting up your bootstraps, and depicting it in the form of superheroes. And, you know, I just think about the last presentation, thinking about our real life superheroes, right? And how that, and you know, this is a great metaphor for that. So really excited to support this.
So you have a quorum now, you did not for the first vote.
got it. Yeah. All right, so let's just, by a show of hands, in support, for this. Okay, motion passes. I think that's 6.
Yep, you're done.
6. You're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, another fantastic presentation. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we are gonna just keep moving on here. So our next agenda item is our comments regarding Manhattan Bridge off ramp and Canal Street. So if y'all recall last month, DOT was here, they gave a presentation on what all these road safety improvements that they've done on the bridge and the off ramp onto Bowery. And just for everybody in the audience online, this is specifically, this item is just for the Bowery intersection of Manhattan Bridge. It doesn't have to do anything with a larger Canal Street corridor study that's happening, and this community board will take a stance on that at some point when we have all the information, but this is specifically is for the safety improvements that DOT implemented because of the 2 deaths from the traffic vehicle incidents crashes at that base over the summer. So this is a resolution that I circulated around to you all. Thanks to Michelle for putting the initial draft together. And what it also does is that it includes information that we learned from the public last month's meeting as well. There were some additional improvements that this committee discussed during that meeting, as well as what we heard from the community and some additional measures that we'd like DOT to look at to do, especially on the off ramp from Manhattan Bridge onto Canal Street and Forsyth, that intersection in this month. So if you all looked at it, if there's any comments, this should be, yeah, this is the one. Yeah, so I should say that actually, that there were some minor grammatical error. Errors that were in that, I would just correct.
So you used, I'm happy to understand now. You said that they had it, but there were additional ones, so this is stuff.
Right, yeah, so the where is kind of like talk about like they did this, they did this, they did this, and then the therefore, and so it was like, we actually did discuss at that meeting of, red light cameras, speed cameras. Lowering the speed limit on an average to match the speed limit of local roads, which is not right now, but we do know that they're looking into that. Post radar, speed display signs showing vehicle speeds approaching Bowery and Christie Street intersections. Passing enforcement by red light and speed cameras to be installed within 2025 camera contract. And bollards on all corners of Canal Street and Bowery, and additional bollards on all pedestrian triangles at the base of the bridge. And so should I also say too, is that we had some conversations with Community Board 2, which also borders this, just on the opposite side of the Bowery. And so they're also, they've asked to actually see this as well. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do with it, but I'll share this with them as whatever we pass.
I also wanted to add that, some of the suggestions were from the community members that came to speak last time. So we incorporated some of the suggestions. Michelle would. I have a question for Kate. You knew that was coming. Which is DOT have other plans in the works right now? Because I feel like those cars would have gone over the barrier that's there right now.
Yeah, so we're still looking,
Oh, wait,
sure,
sorry.
Yeah, here, sit down.
okay, thanks, hi, everyone. Kate Sharon, New York City DOT. So yes, we're still looking at any long-term changes that we can make at this intersection, and the bridge exit, as well as the larger Canal Street, corridor. We're also curious to see what, the board passes so that we can help, direct our efforts moving forward. But yeah, we are still looking at long-term, work here. Okay.
So, these are 4 bullet points there and 3 on another. Anyway, 3 of them are, for normal cars, so that they will. The normal speed limit, but a car that's probably normal is gonna that launches, that's how we did it. The bollards that we asked for. Should we beef that up? I mean, if they put in barriers already, bollards is.
So, this is the one that came from this community, but they were talking about bollards protecting the sidewalk on the west side of the Bowery. So really, actually, to be honest, I don't even know if we should be putting this in our resolution, because it's actually Community Board 2. Which technically we shouldn't be doing, Michelle.
I would just say that I don't think that the physical barriers that were implemented are sufficient. That's what I was implying, because it's like, I don't know who's walked down there, but it like literally just, it angles like into the pedestrian triangle. So like the cars that were going 100 miles an hour, like could very easily just go right over it. I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers when the guy was going like 100 miles per hour into Lancey Street and moved that gigantic planter like all the way in. Like, I don't think that what's there is sufficient. I'm not a traffic engineer, but I have eyes, so I think that we need more. So I would like to leave that bullet in because I think there needs to be more.
Oh, yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
but I wonder if it should be a beefier bullet. So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
let's do it, David. Come on, I'm sure you have ideas.
Yeah.
I think we might go here.
I don't know what to say here, but, I don't know, when I was thinking about it, in the last presentation, and in Texas, they will do things where they will have 50-gallon barrels filled with sand, and they'll put about 3 dozen of them in a triangle so that cars don't hit bridges, if there's no offense or something. And what happening with the Department of City. So having to go away that. But anyway, the cars will plow into it and they will stop before It doesn't kill the people in the car, it doesn't damage the bridge. Anyway, that takes up a lot of space, it's definitely one to follow. I don't think that a regular kind of all that we see around, even if it's a steel post that's put down or that's stuck in the ground, it's gonna stop this car, that from happening. I would love it if something good, because I mean, that was something that, and people do. Drag these on those bridges, including the one outside the window, still ones for the base.
Yeah.
Which is not this.
Well, to your point, like, if we asked for bollards, it's gonna take 3 years in capital costs to get any bollards out there, I mean, we could say more.
Maybe it shouldn't be so prescriptive, yeah.
Yeah, like almost just saying more, more armored, temporary, you know, devices or something like that.
Yeah, just like less, less descriptive, I
Less
should say.
descriptive, like if bollards and saying like put bollards,
More
there, then
descriptive.
you might say bollards, are actually more dangerous for everything, you know, and we want to bollards, but like if we just say more armored type. Additional,
Very substantial enough to stop.
Mhm.
Out of control vehicles that are probably 100 miles an hour, you know, we excess of 100 miles an hour. Something like that, substantial enough to
additional values, just, vehicles going a substantial amount of speed limit or something.
protect pedestrians from out of control vehicles. With speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour. These things are so, it's like a freak accident, right? If they happen, you have to be friendly for it.
Well, it happened twice in one weekend. And then it happened, it occurred many, I think, a few years before, so it is kind of it is an issue. And I think the other ones, what we're talking about, red light cameras and speed cameras, I mean, that's protecting the more of the normal. Like, that's normalized, but it's not this, insane.
So that location is probably worse than others because when you cross that bridge, then there's curbs.
Yeah, it's scary. So. I
The
think we should
precinct
go-
has reported to me that there's been a number of accidents that were never publicized. They weren't as deadly, but there's been a number of accidents.
So maybe up to the.
So you're gonna shut out any-
Streets on all corners of Mount Shake Tower.
I don't have exact numbers in me.
That's where things go, and four sons.
Tom. When I was an engineering student in Texas, and was when we actually were devising that system, the sand.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, it's interesting because I was like reading up on Manhattan where you have Williamsburg, which mostly is just so back into traffic, almost like, I think it's like, what, 16 hours a day coming into the city, but Manhattan doesn't have that because of the 6, 7, 8 lanes. Coming off that bridge into Manhattan. But it's double the amount of capacity to bring vehicles in, which is, I don't know if that's something we want
Should
to
we-
talk about too as well. is
I
just-
think it's in the body of the resolution, but maybe we should add that as a, like, rethinking the lane directions. As
Because
to
I
where
wanted
else,
to do-
or sorry, is that for?
Because I think it was like the lower 3 lanes used to go back and
Yeah.
forward and switch direction based on, but now they're all just, you know.
Yeah, it's the third to last whereas for the past decade, there have been 5 lanes of traffic from the bridge into Manhattan, and only 2 going to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
So you want to add it therefore saying we,
so maybe in that therefore, and the other one we say evaluate the need for so inbound lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
In the bullet.
Sure, I wonder why. That's the case, things don't change, as much. I don't want to get to the election, so that.
No, they stopped doing that, like, less than 10 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
If not longer, maybe, I don't know, yeah, maybe.
I think the last time we did work here before this was around 10 years ago.
Yeah. inbound, down, and that's when.
Don't worry.
Evaluate the number of the, maybe it's evaluating the necessity for the number of, and that.
It's a religious celebration. I'm not making it up.
Okay, and then the other, therefore, would be further resolved, this was, came up at the meeting with the speed cameras and what is happening?
It's the Torah. It's
Oh,
special,
okay.
yes,
That's,
Yeah.
that wasn't gonna go into it, but yes. No,
it's not
no, they just scream off. I don't think they have a Torah.
celebration.
They do this every year.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, great.
Use the, I'm gonna choose, take over Sixth Street. Cause he's a certain.
So, the last therefore, this was a discussion we talked about is the speed cameras, on the bridges themselves, because that's something that we haven't seen, so we really asked COT to look at that. There's schools associated there, so it needs the quarter mile from the school, kind of, this is about Williamsburg Bridge, this is all the bridges, for supporting that in as well. Any other edits? Okay, we want to take a vote on this one by hand as well. All in favor? Right, okay, excellent, so that's 6. The motion passes. Perfect. Okay,
There had been a draft resolution for one. The Rush P. Johnson and.
they did not have a petition to, they just, that's that one comes. Next month, so they can sure. So, okay, so that is that for that. We are now, district needs statement and budget priorities.
I'll just give a brief background. Lots of people here don't know what we're doing. So we're charter mandated every year to write a district needs statement and vote on budget priorities. We've already finished our district needs statement, which points to the unmet needs of the community, what we're advocating for our community. And that often leads to budget priorities. It may mean that we need funding for something. But then there are other times where what we need may not be a budget issue, it may be some other issue. So tonight we're voting on expense budget priorities, which you can also put up on the screen. We have a draft that takes in last year's and updates what we did last year. So the budget priorities are not necessarily programs that we think are the most important. They're programs that we need that are not funded. Our object is to bring money into the community to fund the programs we need. Now, this year is different than all past years because for 2 years, the district managers, the 59, worked with city planning to change the process. In the past, we always had one list from every committee that had all the for this committee would have all the sanitation, all the DOT, all the DEP. We no longer do that. We now only list priorities within an agency. So you will rank the DOT priorities, you will rank the sanitation priorities. And when the full board meets, the same thing will happen. We will not collate any of the priorities, so we will no longer be pitting babies against seniors. What I did, so what Nancy has on the screen, is I took last year's priorities and I grouped them by agency, so you can look at them to, in batches to prioritize that. We also updated them, for instance, the red light cameras. I should also say, as part of this process, there is a group, a Manhattan group consultation with each of the agencies, the 12 district managers, and we try and get committee chairs, meet on Zoom for 3 full days, and we spend about an hour and a half with each agency. every June and July, I come to every committee and I say, what would you like on the agenda that you want the agencies to answer? So all of the priorities are very well researched. They're researched like, is it federal money? Is it state money? Is it tax funds, city tax funds? We also just ask for updates from DOT. All of the agendas and all this answers every year, and right now are posted on our website under resources. We have the results from after every committee meeting. So I don't know if there's any questions on the process. David?
So we no longer have to, make a single prioritized list, I understood that part, but is there a limit to the number?
Pardon?
Oh, is there a limit to the number anymore?
Well, so this administration actually stopped giving us the exact, it used to be 25. Now they're very vague and they say around 25. This committee, I don't think has a huge amount, and I'm talking only expense, not capital. So, yeah, if it goes into like 40 or 50 for the full board, that would be too much. But it's the first time we're doing it this way.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to kind of figure out, I guess, when we're ready to go into the full board and we have the results from every committee, we'll have to look and see what we have.
I think I'm glad I'm not involved.
Right?
I'm not involved in that level. Because the process, I can't imagine what that looks like without a single prioritized list.
Well, it's much easier, much better. We begged to not have to go on and do that.
Yeah.
Working a full board, I don't know how you guys are gonna hit.
I don't know that it's gonna be too many.
And I think this, like, going through the process this year, fully like understand like the district needs, we're just talking about like we asked that red light cameras and those types of things, or like that's what we're interested in as a district, but. The funding, the DOT was really clear on the budget consulting meetings that they already have the funding, they have it. They're just, who wants it, where they're gonna put it, so it's like our education still. So that's really where we come in, is like advocating for our community to get the money. Or really just to get the camera placed here, it's not really about.
Yes.
They have,
So red light cameras should no longer be on this list because it's not a budget issue. They've actually gone from 150 to 600 for the city. But we can, and we're asked to, suggest places where they should be placed. Which I'm already doing. I already have one school where cameras are placed. And what happens then is DOT, and Kate's here from DOT, so she'll correct me whenever she needs to. You should actually give her back the mic. So then DOT will do a study to see, to make a determination of whether it's needed for safety.
so to your point, David, we'll go through this line by line from last year's, and then we can see if there's anything else we wanna add, but there are some removals because of. That consultation, so we're like camera, and again, this, district needs statement, this is in there saying we want these things, so, yeah, just like. I think that's, so, we would get rid of the red light camera. Bike parking installation DOT, so. This is something that we talked about, that we do want bike installations, but it's not a budget priority because they have the money, we just need to give it. And we need to give them the locations, which we've been working with DOT, making it happen. And again, it's still one of those needs, so we still say it's a need. Speed cameras, same as the red light cameras. They have authorization, we just need to then start providing locations that we want them to study. So that would be removed. Litter basket service, so this is DSNY, this is something that we have on there, and this is something that. Yes, we do want to keep this on because we need more money for them, because they were very clear on the call that. If we got more money, we could put out more trash cans, or we could service the existing trash cans more further, so more time to go. So again, that's a budget that we want to keep pushing for, so we will put that on there. this was me talking, I say that's number one.
If I could just add a note to that, if we, you had asked, why some of the trash cans were missing and whether they had been removed. So I followed up with sanitation on that, and they should not be removed, and if you notice trash cans missing, you should let me know and we will have them replaced. However, we have overflowing trash cans all the time, and more money will get us more pickups.
So we'll keep that on there. Street containerization. This is a little upsetting to me and I think people as well. So if y'all remember us in Harlem on the rat mitigation zones. And so we've been asking for this to kind of come to this community board. With the containerization, so up in Harlem where they've got that Empire bin, where doing that whole new system, buying new trucks and different way of doing it, they're seeing the rat populations apparently going down up in Harlem. Instead of coming to CD3, they went to CD2 for the next pilot district.
Yeah.
Which is a little upsetting.
Why? Probably because people are richer and have more pull, that's probably why. I think we should follow up with resolutions and things about, I think it's an equity issue. There are 2 boards in Manhattan that are among, the 4 highest in the city, 2 in Manhattan that have the most rats. That's, and sanitation has maps of this on their website. And it's, board 9 and board 3. Containerization is to get rid of rats. So instead of giving it to the 2 boards that have the most rats, they gave it to one of the boards with the most rats. And then another board with more rich people. I'm getting old, I'll say anything.
Yeah, but this is like, this would be something I would think we may actually wanna do for a future agenda item, like kind of, I just to figure out what that looks like, like, again, we put it in here, so I don't know, what's up.
Yeah.
Ideas of what that looks like.
I actually brought this up at the Department of Health consultation also, and what I was told was their agency believes in science and data, but not everybody listens to them.
So we'll keep this one on there. And then the precision cleaning initiative, so this is one, again, something that, again, if they have more funding, they would do, so we wanna keep this on the list. And precision cleaning is like them going like underneath the Williamsburg Bridge and more frequently cleaning up large scale, kind of like those types of issues, which we have done. Composting program, baselines, so this is one that we, this is like the council is funding at one stop, like for our, the composting facilities. Do you have more information? I actually meant to ask you something on this.
Well, it's not baseline, I mean, it's been funded,
Yeah,
but there's not a baseline funding so that we know it'll be funded every year. It's gonna be a scramble every year. So what we're asking for is to have it baselined within the agency, so it's not dependent on, begging from city council.
yeah, it's like city council, like one shot for like this
Right.
fiscal year, the next fiscal year that they do.
Right.
So yeah, so this is something that I think we'll just keep on if we all support. This is, Bowie Side Ecology Center, Big Reese, is a whole bunch of these folks that I should do education for folks of what composting is. So it's something that we definitely want to keep on that. And then the next one here, noise enforcement cameras. So this is, again, this is not a funding issue, this is us just advocating for this community that we want a location here, so. Our district meetings included that, we'll continue doing it, and this is, maybe we wanna do a resolution on locations if we wanna do that. I don't know, but that's something.
Can I ask? What, can you say anything about that? I'm gonna ask Umberto from DEP to comment on that.
Thank you, Susan. So this is regarding noise cameras. As we had a brief interaction, conversation. Noise cameras, basically, we do have about 9 or 10 in-house that we use. We have a sharing system where we receive requests from elected officials throughout the 5 boroughs. I know there's been question about more cameras, and I'm sure Susan has some locations in mind right now that she or the committee. Where you would like one. We don't say no. We actually welcome any advocate, any advocating and support for more funding for it. However, the issue is in terms of staffing. Because even though let's say we get more cameras, we still need the staffing to watch every single video that it records. So if a vehicle passes and is the muffler's loud or horn honking or loud music, it records that video each time, sends it directly to DEP staff. We have to review it and approve the issuance of violation. So yes, we would love more cameras. By the way, they're very expensive. But it's a staffing issue as well. And we've been able to designate some staff from enforcement and our Bureau of Environmental Compliance unit to help us with viewing the videos so we can kind of get it moving along and not backlog. But as you all know, DEP doesn't function normally like our sister agencies. We rely on the collections revenues from our water rates, which we all pay for. But like I said, if you do wish to include this as a request, by all means, feel free. Last point, Susan, committee, if there is a location aside from this that you have in mind that you've received many complaints, NYPD has gone out or has tried to enforce, send it our way. We can add it to the list. And when we have a camera freed up, and if the location meets the requirements, we'll accommodate and install a camera on that. Did I answer your
Do you
question?
need a resolution? For a location, do you need a resolution for a location?
No, that's why I said on just a side note, if you want to just offhand, if you want to send me that location and Marty and we'll gladly send it to our Bureau of environmental compliance and they'll put it on the list.
So you're saying that we should, there's the official thing at the consultation.
Yeah.
But you're saying it would not hurt for us to ask for increased funding for both staffing and for cameras to fully implement the program.
Absolutely, it does not hurt.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very helpful. Yes, that's great. But I think we probably have a few locations that we can look at 311 and, yeah, sure.
Maybe around Clinton and. Okay.
There, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're adding that then increased funding for more noise cameras and increased staff to implement the noise camera program. We have no DOT stuff left to advocate for. Do you wanna put in a word for anything?
I think you have a pretty good list.
We have nothing left for DOT
Yeah,
this year.
Well, I'm gonna give this mic back.
Okay.
What was it? But do we have anything else that we would love to add on to this?
Well, we need to be there, anything needs to be researched.
Yeah,
We
right.
can't just add stuff
Yeah.
out without researching. This
I think
is
it
not the
matches,
time.
it links up to what our district needs, and
Yeah.
we could look at it again next year.
So I will say again, if you want anything researched, if there's anything that you think should be on, June and July is the time to put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
And then we find out about it.
Okay, all right. That'll be here soon.
Yes,
Okay, excellent, so that's I don't think we need to vote on this.
yes, you do.
Oh,
You
we
need to
do?
vote on both the district needs and priorities. And the full board will vote at the end of this month, and they must be submitted to city planning by October 31st.
Not revised, yeah, okay, so can this just be a simple?
Just yes or no.
Just yes. or no?
And then everything goes, the list and the district needs, which you've already finalized, it just all goes to the full board. We do this the same every year.
You need an order for the ones for the agency. So
That's true, that's true. You have, that's correct. You have to make sure they're ranked.
for sanitation.
Right, so you have sanitation, yeah, you have to rank the sanitation ones. Right now, they're ranked in the order that they were last year.
All right, so we're ranking, so we have for DEP, we just have noise enforcement. Is that like the-
Yeah, it's only one, so
so
you don't have to rank it.
DEP, so that's easy.
We have nothing left for DOT.
Sanitation, we have composting.
So your order from last year was litter basket, containerization, precision plant. Precision cleaning, and then baselining the composting program, which really should be last because it's a.
I'd
asking
like to
for
put that
baseline.
last too, yeah, that makes some sense. I guess the question would be is do we want to have litter baskets first? And do we want street containerization to be second, followed by the precision cleaning and then compost? That's how we did it last year.
That's what we did last time.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. Everyone seems to play. All right, so we're good with that. So we can put it up on that. DFC, we have speed cameras.
You have nothing left.
No, we did, we have bike parking. I mean, we have, I'm sorry, we have, no, we don't have anything.
We have nothing.
No, we don't have anything, right? I don't know. Yeah, no, correct. Okay. Great,
We have lots
so.
of things we want, but we have a bunch of things.
The order, we'll clean this up, and so we can vote on the motion to just support the district needs statement and the district priorities, right? Needs statement, and the priorities, and the attachment, okay, so, you see by hand, Michelle? Okay, 6, motion passes, and we are good to go, that's it.
Can I?
Yeah.
I just would like to give a small announcement. I can give a paper from. Find it.
If everybody's sticking around, it's like a big room, I mean, just.
The last item was written.
I mean,
That
I
one, not-
gotta say for myself.
I don't have it in front of me, but I have my district service cabinet meeting today. Kate was there and Berta was there. And it was kind of unlike any other. We had particularly from the 5th precinct. The amount of stabbings, the amount of additional drugs, we now have heroin and crack in addition to K2. The amount of food and other things being stolen and sold, well, they're sold mostly at Hester and around Hester and Forsyth. It surrounds, particularly around SDR Park, it surrounds the area, and it's just incredible what's happening. We keep hearing about how the city's safer, and I think our overall numbers probably are safer. It's, I mean, you can ask my colleagues, it was just incredible and unbelievable to hear about the amount of standings, including one homicide. And they're spending a lot of 5th precinct actually was so bad, they had officers, not new class officers, but officers transferred permanently from other precincts to us. Think the 5 and 7 are really working together because they're being stolen at 7 and sold at 5. There's also complaints around particularly drugs around the outside of Seward Park Library in the area, Parks area that's just adjacent. And this is one reason I find it so frustrating to spend so much time on the amount of non-compliance for quality of life, but not serious issues that we have to do. I just think people should be aware. It's like I said, it was just kind of a shocking report, and I just wanted to public safety committee
Thank you.
to make people aware. They're working very closely with the DA's office. So what they're doing is like they'll it's, they have people who are doing the same thing again. I mean, it's not like kids going out and doing something. It's career criminals who are doing the same thing over and over and over. And what they're doing is batching like 15 arrests around one person and then working with the DA to have, so when that person goes to court, it's not just, well, he stole a steak yesterday. They're actually selling steaks out of bags that are from trader joe's.
Did they talk about whether or not there's a tie to like just decreasing social services and economic pressure on people and like actually I'm thinking like, are there maybe not this year, but next year, things we can ask for from a public safety perspective in our budget?
Well, what we didn't talk about that directly, but what we did talk, which was about the same thing, is why wouldn't somebody buy a steak for $5? If, if they can't afford to go shopping for themselves, and that's, buying a steak out of a paper bag, 'cause that's what they do. They don't even put out blankets on the ground. It's a paper bag that they reach in and pull out a steak. So we're always advocating for all the social services, and of course it's related, but I mean, people are getting stabbed and shot.
So are those status units associated with this? I know very familiar with the little market there, which is on Piscataway Park and the block of Brady. Yeah, and someone comes in, suddenly there'll be a lot of people standing around, and then suddenly someone arrives and whatever they're selling is gone. Very cool.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's-
what they said, very.
So it's a lot of people are desperate to go into this, basically. Situation, kind of, lean.
The drugs are bigger. That is one
I
problem.
didn't realize that drugs were happening at that location.
No, the drugs are throughout the whole park.
Okay.
The drugs that park has gone back to what it was like in the 70s.
Right. Yeah, and I'm also aware of that. So I was gonna ask you described the precincts working together. Was all of that surrounding the food theft and that market?
Right.
Okay, but I'm wondering what's amping up the other problems related to drugs. There's now heroin and
It's all gonna be speculation. It's, if we, as Michelle said, they have services, but it's all gonna, right now, we're talking about it, that's speculation. But what's happening is not speculation, and what's gonna be done about it. What?
It's not happening at all of the parks, for instance, I don't think.
Actually, Tompkins Square Park is better than it used to be. But that's a gathering place. It's just like K2. That is the K2 dealing headquarters of New York City. It's a hub. It's a hub. And it doesn't mean that there's less, it just means it's concentrated in one place.
So is there, well, maybe this is maybe something, I was gonna ask if there's, is there some sort of task force for communication? I know it's a long thing.
And did you say task force?
Or something. Is there something?
Not that we're included in, as Kate and I were just talking earlier, Washington Square Park has a task force. Why don't we have one? Which I've asked. We did a project that we submitted for Sarah Della and Roosevelt Park. It was to the mayor's office, CAU, was supported by the community board and the park coalition. And I keep sending emails saying, so what's happening? So what are you doing? So there is both, it doesn't have money attached, but it's supposed to be the mayor's office working with agencies. There hasn't been any result. Right now, I mean, I think we need to think about, we can't tonight. I mean, this is something brand new. To me, it's kind of shocking. I think it's something we have to think about.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that there's some type of other, working together, because I know, there are all those like task force around the city, 110th Street and Central Park North, there's that task force there, there's a.
We had one on 14th Street. All they did was push it down. So they pushed it off 14th Street, which was between CB3 and CB6, between Stuyvesant Town and Randy Ward 3. And all they did was push it away, so you didn't have the people on 14th Street complaining. you know, not all these task forces deal with problems.
Yeah, just pushing them.
Yeah, they just push them around. And even, maybe about 2 years ago, there was a real focus on SDI Park. And a lot of arrests in the park. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as now, but all they did was push it on the blocks like 1 block away. So you can't push it around. You have to resolve the issue.
Buffer thing fix.
So
Okay, all right, thanks, Susan, I appreciate you giving us that update. Thanks to the folks that join us online, and stuck around, and again, thanks again for folks in the room here. We are done, so we'll just do a roll call
Vincent Serena,
here.
it's Tom here, Tanya Weeks. Lee Bergman, and Solomon Butcher, Sean Garcia.
Here.
Charlie Wilson. And Michelle Peterson, President, Judge Almeida, President. David Kim.
President.
You know, and